And good morning, everyone. Good to see you. Paul Trani here, going to dive into a design masterclass where we actually focus on Illustrator mainly and various design tools. Because chances are I'm going to also open up Photoshop, use mobile app, might do a little animation. We're going to have a lot of fun today, though. That's all I know. And also, I know Michelle's here. Will and Steve is here, and Susan. Want to welcome you all. That is good. Now that you guys are here, and if you're new, say hello. Good to have you here. It is a happy Friday, isn't it? Hopefully the weather is picking up where you are, as in better, not worse. But yeah, hopefully this day finds you well. It's actually looking pretty good here in Denver today, just so you know that. Awesome. So we're going to make some cool patterns, some pattern magic. I have some ideas. You can kind of see behind me some things that I might actually kind of steal from, if you will, but it's going to be pretty cool. But let's kick it off and let's just jump right into Illustrator. Here we are, folks. All right, thank you. I just got this new hoodie. It's nice and warm and soft. It's great. Okay, yeah. Wearing real clothes, people. I mean, I even have pants on. It's crazy. I'm wearing pants today. All right. Let's get into this. Let's make some fun things, folks. Okay, so what I actually want to make, and I'll launch this, I'm going to go to, this is kind of where I was, if I could only find it, where I was inspired. Inspired to do something like this. Okay, so this is just, I don't know, toomodern.com. It's just a site that creates like really cool wallpaper, as you can see right in here, really cool patterns. So this is what we're going for. There is one in here that is really awesome. If I could find it, it actually is, if you give me a second, it's probably under decor, the Brooklyn wallpaper. And it's just really cool because it has like Biggie Smalls and all these people in it, so it's pretty cool. Brooklyn wallpaper. If you guys don't mind, I'm sorry, I thought it was going to be right in there. Okay, here we are. It's Toile. That's the name of this sort of pattern that you'll see. So again, this is the Toile pattern. Wait for it to load. And that's kind of what it looks like. I guess it's kind of hard to tell, but there's Biggie Smalls in here and all sorts of things. It's pretty cool. So that's what we're going for, right? So we're going to make our own version of that. Okay, so that is the idea. Toile. And let's get this party started. You could see a lot of these repeated patterns. You could see illustrations. These are people just doing yoga. You know, I thought it was just kind of fun. Most days I'm wearing sweatpants. So yeah, that's the thing. Good one, though. All right, so let's just jump in here. We could do some things simply, as we know, kind of draw out something. Curve those corners. If you hold down the Option key, you can click, right? And you're going to get a chamfered corner. Actually, I typically get these names wrong, but right up here, these are the different corner types. So this is inverted round, and that's chamfer, okay? Chamfers straight across. But if you just hold down the Option key and click, that's what you can do to kind of get these different versions, right, pretty easily. Okay. Toile is cool. All right. Now we have this simple shape. We can go into right over here, object, and this has been in Illustrator a while. Because first of all, we don't want to do this. We don't. If we're making a pattern, we don't. This seems fast, like holding down Command, Option, and Shift and moving this over, and then Command D. That seems pretty fast, like we're making a pattern, but these are all individual elements. Right? Those are all individual elements. That's not necessarily what we're going for because, again, they're individual elements. All we need to do is we need to select this, go to Object, go to Pattern, and go to Make. Toile is a design tool. I want to know what Toile is. I thought it was a pattern style, so I guess I should Google what Toile is specifically. Okay, click OK. It's been added to the swatches panel. Okay, we get these pattern options that we can start exploring. Right, cool thing is I want that little gap like you saw a second ago. I could shrink this down and it obviously makes that gap. I want the size of this whole thing to be larger. I can do that, of course, as well. It's all pretty straightforward once you're in here, I think. You know, now we have a little bit more space, and we can continue to use other tools in here as we jump in. Maybe I want to create a circle or just add to this all I want. I want to put a little dot right over here. Zoop. There it is. You can see that dot, you know, pops up in all spots, right, as we can see. I can put it right on this corner. Bam! And it's going to be perfectly like right on that corner. Hello, Rick. Good to have you here. Michelle's in the house. So this is, again, pretty straightforward to work with if you ask me, right? You probably think that, oh, can I add color? Of course you can, right? We can jump in, throw some color in there, and it's going to do the obvious. Give me some color. Let's make that a nice... Heck, you know what? Let's remove that altogether. All right, let's take this one and let's make it white. Ugh, hate it when I do that. There we go. Make sure that is up there. And we can fill the background with a different color. Actually, that's probably what I'm going to do right now, so wait for it. I'm going to get into some more advanced things too, by the way, because I have some drawings and stuff that I've already done. So with that done, by the way, here's that original shape. I can push that off to the side. And if we go on our swatches panel, here's our one little character that looks nice and innocent enough, but that's our pattern. Cool. You like to make patterns from text, pressing E. It's kind of easy to adjust the text parameters. Yeah, that works too. That works. Okay, so now we'll draw out a rectangle and apply that pattern to it. Okay, so that's how this works, right? What if you want to edit this pattern, right? And I do want to point out, remember I said it's actually just showing the white of the paper. We can always show transparency grid, by the way, and then you can see that there's no white back there. So just kind of keep that in mind, right? So high transparency grid. But you can see that that's actually like transparent. So whether I like that or not, hey, totally up to you, right? We have a different color back there that we could work with, right? The cool thing is if we want to change this, you'd think double clicking would do it, but you have to just double click on this pattern right over here. There we are. Zoop. Jump in here. You know, adding a color in the background, kind of like that. And making sure, this is interesting. That is interesting how to, so basically I've added that pattern in there. You're getting something kind of weird because it's actually like all these elements, one needs to be stacked on top of the next. Even though this is behind, it's kind of doing this overlap thing, right? So it gets kind of interesting if you put down a background color, if you ask me, right? So I'm going to show sort of a workaround for this, just so you know. Okay, because again, all I want to do is put a background back there. Okay, but it's kind of covering up this little dot. Because again, either this one has to be on top or this one has to be on top, but not both of them, right? Either this one or this one, because it needs to have that hierarchy. And that's when you get into this overlap. That's what's happening here, right? We can start to see that overlap happen. In fact, let's stretch this out. Let's go right down here and let's just click on this little button. I'm sorry this is kind of hard to see, but there's that little dot. I can say, okay, up and bottom and top, that's what it's doing. Have the bottom one be above everything else. Have the top one be above everything else. Okay, I'm going to delete that, so click done. What I can do there is I would actually open up the appearance panel. So the appearance panel already has that fill, which is the pattern. And what I would do is I would just add a new fill that happens to be that color, right? And bring that down beneath that current fill. It would have helped if I would have selected the pattern. So let's do that one more time. The one underneath is going to have that color or a different color. You get the idea. This is so retro, right? Okay. Awesome. Michelle, good to have you here. I see you over there. Hammer Strand. Okay, which version of Adobe Illustrator I use? I use the latest Creative Cloud version. What is it? 2021. Version 25 if you open up the Creative Cloud desktop app. Let's move on from this because this is way straightforward. Let's do some things that I'm going to do. This is going to be kind of fun, okay? You guys get this. Any questions? I could show you what I'm working on. Okay? Andreas in the house. So I did a couple things. Here's one. So I did a sort of, I thought I'd, make myself kind of look like a king or somebody from like olden times, if you will, right? So there's me. I actually did Jasmine as well. So if we turn her on, here she is, right? And we could take this and consider, hey, maybe using or making a pattern around her, like again, or me, whatever the case may be. Right, I could do that right in here. Let's grab, say, this twirly thing, right? Now I want to make a pattern around it. We will go to, not to pattern, but down to repeat. And I can do a radial repeat around that point. Here's my radial repeat. Move that down into place. Make it larger, increase the number of those swirls, and now we just got a nice swirly thing. So, yeah. Hey Paul, a little off topic. Not off topic, Rick. Great question. Is there a way to like adjust the center point for the object? How you typically do that, and hopefully this answers your question. I typically move this point, right? How do you adjust the center point to make it closer or further away from the object? That means just grabbing this point and you'll pull it toward the center object like that. Okay, let me turn off everything else because it's getting distracting. And that's how you do it. But like moving it to the side or anything or up or down, it's a radial repeat. It's always going to be from the center. So you're only adjusting the distance from the center. Okay? So hopefully that makes sense. Double clicking, we can go in there, we can change this. I'm going to have those curls maybe on the inside, right? Watch when I move this in. That's kind of the equivalent of, I guess, moving the the control point closer to the center. Okay, so we get some interesting designs in here as you can see. Okay, cool. It's all right. Control the number of them. They get really muddy after a while, and we want to make them all look kind of integrated. Kind of like that is what I'm going for. Okay, little fleur-de-lis, yes, awesome. By the way, since you mentioned that, Mike, you probably also want to like just do research because you really didn't know what I was going for. I went clicking around for some of these, like, oh, look at this, the snake party wallpaper. Look at how awesome this is. Look at how cool that is. All right, Max, I am here for an hour on Adobe Live and then also at 9:30 to 10:30 a.m. Pacific time today. So twice today, just so you know. So I can think about using some of this. And when you see some of this, you're like, hey, you know what? Some of that has to be out there somewhere. Like, do I make everything from scratch? You know, I tell people all the time, go to stock.adobe.com/free, right? And do you have to make everything from scratch? Well, no, you can take a look right out here, free stock assets, scroll down, grab what you want or what interests you, but these are the free collections. Let's see, free vectors right there in the center. And now we have these free vectors that we can work with that can easily be a pattern, as I can see. So again, they're free. So you do have to sign in. Don't you hate it when you have to sign in and, you know, during a live stream? Huh? Don't you hate that? All right, let me switch over. There we are, people. But again, if you're joining me, my name is Paul Trani. 0843798. Got it. Let's switch back. There I am. Okay. Anyways, just pointing that out. Free assets. You got it. License. Done. Download. Do what you want with it. Something like that gear. Gears are awesome because they could all link together. And it's just a perfect case for, you know, sort of like tiling as well. Okay. So for these, let's actually ungroup them. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to make these black and white. Maybe get rid of all this other stuff. Right? Let's take these. Right. And again, I can do the same pattern, right? It's going to pattern those different tiles. Now let me do this really fast because one of the features that I didn't show in here is how these all link together. That looks pretty good. But if we don't want it in a grid pattern, we can change it. We can change it to brick by row, start staggering them different ways to get what you want. Okay, so again, when you're actually probably making something a little bit more organic, this might be helpful just to make it look less like a pattern. Okay, so that's all that is. Anyways, you guys get the idea. Done, done. Yeah, hey, totally, Mike. If you want to make things in Illustrator, why not make things? Honestly, a lot of times am I gonna make another heart or another gear? You can make, if you're a craftsman and want to make everything from scratch, by all means, go for it, okay? I just know a lot of this stuff already exists, and if it saves me time and I can't tell one fleur-de-lis from another or one flower from another, like what's the difference? Like, in my opinion, right? And plus, it's just I'm giving you guys ways to make cooler stuff faster, right? The last thing I want you to do is spend time creating some cool, I don't know, some florid pattern when if you just go down to the symbol libraries and realize that they're already in Illustrator to begin with. Like, that's the last thing you want to do. It's like, oh, all I really wanted was something like this. Oh, and it was in there the whole time? And Paul didn't tell me? He's a jerk. So again, just making sure you guys know about these things so you don't hate me later. Okay, so there they are. Boom. Take all this stuff out. You should just kind of be aware of these things because they've been in Illustrator forever. This is a gorgeous one as well. So let's turn me back on. Ba ba ba. There we are. There's my silly little crown, and this is kind of ridiculous. Maybe I'll use Jasmine's image because I don't like working with mine. This is just ridiculous, right? It's just silly. Same thing for this piece. Like, these actually kind of have different styles. Let's push that aside. Let's move this one in, okay? All right, let's grab the pen. And draw that out like so. There we are. You know what I'm doing. I'm going to make just a nice crest really fast. That is a very thin line. Let's crank that up. Let's select a number of elements actually. Let's take this, go like that. Let's do this. Flipping them. But I do hear you. Like, I think there's a lot of pride when you like make something from scratch. You're like, oh, that is all 100% me. That is pretty darn cool. But if you're drawing an arrow and you can't tell one arrow from the next, it doesn't really matter, right? Always curious as to how people make things and cut things, right? So come in here, we could chop that. Here's this piece. It's going to leave it open, right? I typically don't like it. I don't know if you guys like it, but like, yeah, it kind of looks okay, but like, I need to close this end, right? Command Y. Oh, You know, I want to, I get a little particular and I'm just like, you know, it has to be closed in a complete shape. Like so, and there's that little curl. Boom, boom, boom. Right. You guys get the idea. We can start combining a number of these, by the way. Oh, was chat down? I don't know if chat was down. Was something going on with chat, people? Tell me. All right, so something that might seem like a pattern, might not. Yeah, of course it's pattern because pattern's in its name, but there's the pattern brush as well. So it's like, well, geez, I was going to go in and spend all my time like going in and making this like a vine thing, right? I was like, do I do that? Right? My vine would look something like this. Okay, and I'm going to have it kind of wrap around. Well, let's just adjust this some more. Maybe just have these touching. How's everybody doing today, huh? We got a full day of masterclasses. All my friends and coworkers are here, and I just think it's a good day to be alive. I get to run some 30-second all-outs at Orange Theory, so I'm really excited about that. Because that's what I do for fun, is just like try to see how fast I could run. What am I, 8? Hey, look how fast I could run. That's where I'm at in my life, okay? Okay, brushes. Dropping this into the brushes panel, we can see scattered. Yeah, there we are. We want to make patterns. Pattern brush. Click OK. Okay, here it is. Take this. Make sure all the corners are how we want. We could auto center or auto between. I think the auto between tends to scrunch them a little bit more, but it's going to be just some playing around with either one of these, right? Okay, so we have sort of we could have something on the beginning, we could have something on the end, but right here, these corners are what I'm a little bit more concerned about. And be mindful of the size, which we could always change later. We'll click OK. Right, here's our wonderful pattern. We'll zoom out. N for pencil. And by the way, let's just deselect. Always deselect, because you'll click on the pattern and it's going to change what you just had selected. Select your pattern, select, say, N. And then we draw that out, and now we have our pattern that we're looking for. Okay? It was down for 2 days? I had no idea. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. Let's catch up, huh? What's going on in everybody's lives? I got a new shirt. Anybody else? Anybody else get some human clothes? Human clothes are the best. Right? But that's actually more along the lines of what I want. Okay? Cool. Cool. And this would just take some playing with. Checking the time. I've been going for 20 minutes. Good, good, good. Let's bring that down like that. And I absolutely love creating pattern brushes. Right? Look at the control I have. Try that, Photoshop, huh? Do that, Photoshop. I love vector lines. They could be changed later on, right? Even the uniformity of it. Look, not only the shape, of course, and the thickness, adding more leaves, but also if we wanted to taper the end. Results may vary here. As I click right there, you can kind of see what happens, but I could still, again, play with that point. Let's go up. Maybe that'll work, maybe it won't, but I'm just like into how organic this is, right? A lot of times when I draw things with pencil, and I use that a lot, especially since I got a little Wacom, I love the thing. I can always go in and simplify that path. So we've actually updated this, so go to simplify, right? And then you can crank that all the way to the end, and that's all you need to do. Your tendency is to hit enter, and that's going to pop up. Don't do that, right? Just go to object, path, simplify that path, and then just click off of it, and it should do its thing. Although it doesn't look like it changed it that much, does it? There we go. So you can see it's changing that, and that gives me a nice smooth path, and I can continue on with the rest of my life. I'm on Adobe Live in another hour in another 2 hours. I'm on for 30 minutes, and then on in 2 hours or an hour and a half after that. I'm sorry, you guys didn't need to hear that, but I certainly needed it. All right, we know with branches and vines and things, they're actually thicker down here and thinner up at the top, so this isn't the right width profile. Come in here, click right here, it does it, okay? So look what happens here. I hope everybody gets this. Mike might know this, like Golden Rose, Afroja, like this is all very important stuff. Let's just say, for instance, it was like this. Like we hit this width profile, so it was like this. We hit this width profile, bam. Oh no, it did it the opposite. I want the thin end to be up here. Again, I don't know if you guys know this, but this is hugely important. Like, I want to reverse the path. Just reverse it. Object, path, right down here. Reverse path direction. Okay? Reverse path direction. There it is, and it will reverse that path direction. I use that a lot whenever I'm using the blend tool. I'll use it, and of course when I'm using brushes and patterns. And also, if you're joining me over on YouTube, I appreciate you hanging out with us. But come over to behance.net/Adobe Live, because that's the chat I'm reading, and you know, I got to keep it simple for me. Right, there we are. Boom. If I don't like the thickness of the line, hey, the width tool is coming to the rescue to where I can make it thicker right here. Should be able to. Right? And just make sure it's thinner down there. So N is for, again, pencil. I can draw that up. No. I don't know, like this maybe? Maybe? I don't know. I'm just playing around now, as you can see. Vines, vines, vines. Double click. Everything looks good there. For my path tool, I'm just not doing a great job making that path. All right. Let's move this down. Let's add some more elements right in here. Right? We got these little dots that are just like little elements you'll see. Look for a lot of times like wood cuts or like wood engraving is where you'll come across some of these, like a fleur-de-lis style is like totally what I'm into. And again, I got these directly from good old Illustrator because they're baked in. Let's take this. Kind of just playing around. Okay, so let's go beyond this, by the way. These elements as well, even if I want design elements to repeat, take all those, drop them in there, turn it into a pattern brush, right? And now we have our pattern brush with just a simple pattern. There it is. There you go. You get the idea. Okay. Oh good, Raphael. I hope I'm helping you out. I hope this isn't too confusing or not helpful, but you know, I think within the context of projects, that's when all of this gets interesting. It's like, okay, how is this gonna look for what I'm working on? How's it gonna work? Okay, and this is gonna take a lot of playing with, right? That's all I'm doing is I would jump in here, I'd put on some good music or bad music, whatever you're into, and just start working on this, right? I think to make a cool pattern, I think with anything organic, it needs like a structure, and that's what this is right here. This is my structure, okay? This line, okay? We can crank that up a lot, and we could take a look at my decorative borders. What do we have here? Take a look at all the different brushes baked in, and yes, I can make my own brush, but right down here, click like so, lines. There we go. Here's a bunch of border lines that I can maybe use for this. Okay. One thing you can't do is like go, well, let me actually, I changed my mind. Boy, I was just about to, let's click on this double line, okay? Because that's what I want. I want a thick line and a thin line. And there's a number of ways to do this. I could have done this myself, but, or I could have shown you how, but let's just use what's in here now. So there that is. I'm going to double click on it. Oh, I cannot, I'll go over here. There we go, double clicking on it. This is the double line brush that I just stole from the border lines, okay? Problem is, like, hey, you know what? I want it to be a different color. The key color is going to be blue. Oh, I got to think about how to do this. Okay. Okay, here we go. Going into that brush, you could change the color. So just because you see a brush in here that's a color, when you drag it to your brush library, you could then change the colorization to be tints or tints and shades, right? I'm going to change this to tints and shades. It's targeting the blue color. We'll click OK. We'll apply it to those strokes, and it will change it to whatever color that you have picked, right? So I could change this. I can make this again, the red if I want to. Click OK. Going in here again, change it to black. Boom, we can change it to black. So just because you open up the brush library and you see all these crazy colors, you change it by, excuse me, double clicking on that brush and changing accordingly. Right? Just double click on it and then change it in there. All right, done and done. Let's move on, people. So sorry it took so long because all I wanted to do, excuse me, maybe we'll throw some wings in there, huh? We're just gonna have some fun today, folks. Maybe there's some awesome wings back there, right? I'll consider doing a number of things. I don't know. It all needs to be hooked in with this, so maybe I'll bring it in like that. I don't know. I don't know. Let's break link to the symbol. Let's edit the color, because you know what? That's not a true black. There we go. Okay. It's a little crazy, but let's take all of this. We'll go to Object. We could duplicate it and flip it, but I'm going to go back down to, excuse me, Repeat, and we'll just do a mirror repeat. Bam, there we are. We have our mirror repeat. We have this line that we can then control, like I'm doing, right? And we can space it out down here, but you have these control bars to adjust the rotation and the spacing of that mirror. Okay, you can see already that this is way too tall and thin. So this is a case where like, geez, Paul, I need to go in here. I need to fix it, right? And since I'm within mirror repeat, I can change this all I want and get this the way I want it to look, which is what I'm doing right now. Let's grab this. Let's move it up, right, like so. And let's just go back out and let's get this centered over me, kind of like that. Double click, we're back in this mirror repeat. Selecting these elements, moving it down. I think it'd be cool if the crown's kind of sticking out, like busting out of this frame. So let's just take that and move that down like so. Something kind of like that. Anyways, that's what I'm working on. There's a sort of the start of just a cool pattern. So, alrighty. I would come in here, I would tweak this. I kind of look like a Russian czar. That's not what I'm going for, right? Again, I need to do more research. And I need to start just like kind of Googling like king images or something. But you guys get the idea. All right, we can bring that down. Something kind of like that. It's all part of the mirror repeat. Jump in there, zoop. Make it smaller, move it over. Right, you guys get the idea. Okay. Good morning, everybody. We're just making some, I don't know, some kind of fun wallpaper that can then repeat. And we can get even more interesting with this, right? We have this set up. And by the way, I've already done this. I've actually made another version right back here. So this is the one that I had earlier. Okay. Which isn't bad. It's not bad, right? We could take a look at this other one. For Jasmine, let's just kind of turn on her crest. Here's her crest. Again, this is what I do when I have more time, when I don't have everybody staring at me. So still some things I would refine in here. Most things have a stroke. Her crown does not have a stroke, so I'd have to go in and fix that, by the way. But just so you know, I actually drew this all on, oh yeah, need a royal animal. That is the plan. I'm going to do a cat, by the way. So that's the plan, is I'm going to have a cat that is like a royal cat. But in general, let's jump in here. Here's this lovely crown. Let's make it a little thicker, right? Just so it matches. There we go. And this piece. Now, I've been working between Illustrator on the iPad and Illustrator on the desktop. Okay? I honestly, when I'm drawing, I've found it really easy to use Illustrator on the iPad for drawing. And that's where I actually started with this. So, let me jump over. Fantastic. Okay, so here's my wallpaper. I can save it to Cloud Documents. Jasmine Wallpaper 2. Click Save. I'll sometimes have two different versions because we're not at full compatibility just yet. For instance, this crown, this lovely repeating pattern right up here for this crown is actually using the blend tool. So just to go do this really fast, bam, bam, there it is. There's my line. Let's crank it up, right? And let's change the uniformity of that line. Just going with something like that, giving it a nice little bar. Bam, bam. Oh, so sorry, I can't see. There we are. Boom, boom, done. And that's how the crown was created. Right? You guys know how blends work, right? We could double click inside of it. And you're wondering how to bend it? It's like, okay, well, yeah, I could rotate this and rotate this, but it doesn't have the curve that you want? Well, hey, no problem. Just grab the pencil and draw, and then it will replace it. And now we have that line for that curve, right? We could see it right here. We could select it. We have a little extra piece like so. But there's that curve. Command H, there we go. I was hiding extras, but that's how you can kind of curve that out and adjust these accordingly, okay? So after doing all that, you know what? One of these things, this is one of those things that actually won't come through even as I save it. Like this piece, we'll see what happens to it as we switch to the iPad. So let me just enter in my top secret password. Let's jump over to Illustrator. Go to Your Work, pull down, give it a little refresh. There it is, number 2. Click on it. It might say this. Oftentimes I forget to close the desktop version. Right, but let's just jump in here and wait for it. Wait for it, people. Yeah, it's kind of tricky having kind of, yeah, you could have problems with that curve for sure. Sometimes you could actually do blends with multiple objects. So if you want it really perfect, you could do one at 45 degrees, have another one in the center, and then another one at another 45 degrees. You get the idea. But you could blend those three elements together. All right, here we are. Here's this piece. And now I can add to this some more. But mainly I just wanted to jump out here to kind of show you the same tools that we've been working with. But that's how I actually initially drew this. Let's jump in here. Let's add a circle with black, no stroke. It's like, hey, you can't be drawn on a hidden layer, Paul. There's that little dot. Off to the side, we have the radial grid and mirror. We'll click on radial. Zoop, there we are. And get this positioned into place. Has like little dots in the background. Okay, that done. Let's drag it down. There it is. Just added some nice dots, and you guys get the idea. Okay. Yes, Viola. So yeah, close the desktop version. Like, it's just funny because typically you're not working on your iPad in front of your desktop, but that's when the transfer usually happens. And that's when I like get an error, or you'll have a conflict, like a conflicted file. It's like, oh, who am I? What am I doing here? It's very conflicted on its life. It's like, oh, it's like you're not real, file. Okay, so there that is, right? Just like so, added that radial, and we get other settings. So I'm just going to jump back out of that. That was actually custom wallpaper 1. Doesn't really matter. Right, saving that, and that's actually where all of those repeats came from. Let's jump back over to my desktop. Oh, there we are. Here's this version. Actually, what I would add to this is I would add some banners. There's so many cool things. There's a dot pattern vector pack. Regal vector pack. Oh, you know, we spent all that time, you know, making a crest, and then there's crests in here. So I could have used one of these if I wanted to as well, okay? But what we do have in here is we have some nice banners. So I could take that, put that like so, say down there, right? I want to add a little bend to it. So many things to show you guys. Object, bend. How come I don't have bend? Oh, that's right. So let me do this. I'm so glad you guys are here. Can I just say thanks for hanging out? So this little piece, I actually pulled it out from this library. It actually is a symbol, right? And I'll go to object. I'll go down to, there it is, envelope distort. There it is. Sometimes you'll have to break the link from the symbol if you're running into any issues. That's all I wanted to point out. I want to make this with warp, right? And we'll just arc that up, right? Ever so slightly like that. Click OK. And there we have that banner. So let's make sure this is on top of everything else, right? And we could put text in there, right? Double clicking, we still have that flat. I'm actually working on the envelope. And I'm going to break link to that symbol. I don't even know how to spell my own name. There we go. Let's pick a better font. We want it to be a serif font, if not slab. Athelis. Make it a little larger. like so, like so. All right, everybody, you guys get the idea. We have that in place, and there we are. Done, done. Let's grab Jasmine's file. That was just a little diversion while this file syncs. It's not that big of a file, by the way. But there it is. Here it is with, sure enough, this radial repeat as it goes around, okay? We can see off to the side, and this is something I didn't show you earlier, Mallory and everyone, like the repeat options. So what was I doing is when I was dragging this up, I'm adding more items, right? So now I know that there's actually 20. I was doing it all visually, right? So that's, again, one way you want to potentially do things. I could take, again, just do a nice, oh, what else shall we do? Should we do leaves? What else do we have, huh? What else? Oh, I have all sorts of things in here. I have a whole mess of things. Ah, let's do these flowers. There it is, lovely flower. Flip it. And let's go ahead and do a grid repeat. Last of the patterns. Here's my grid repeat. And then again, it looks easily like it's a pattern, of course. Right over here, I would offset this grid type. Boom, like that. Either horizontally, by column, or by row, and make that look a little bit more random, okay? Ultimately, it's still gonna look like a power. I just read that, flower power. It's gonna still look like a flower, right? Doesn't do us many favors, right? Like, okay, that looks okay. That's when you need to know how to make a pattern, like I was doing earlier, right? Taking this, maybe grabbing this flower, and some other elements, some leaves. Here's a leaf. There we are. Taking these elements and turning that into a pattern. Yeah, make it a pattern. Do your thing. Position this accordingly. Something kind of like that. Maybe put another one over here. There we go. Much better. Done. Hold on to those items. But again, now we have that pattern that we can play with. All right, how are you guys doing? I guess chat was down for a little bit. Is that what I was hearing? I'm so sorry. So sorry to hear that. Not fun. Okay, there's that. Close that. Take this. All right. What is... Oh, a Spoonflower. So that's ultimately what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to get these into a decent state so I can upload them to Spoonflower and make my own pattern. So let's go back here. This is my version. Let me clean this up really fast. Let's just do a select, same, fill color. Selecting all those elements because I want these two to match. They don't quite match. There we are. Not crazy about this type. Right, not quite working. Style is not that great. But let's just at least make it smaller. We'll do something like this. Okay, there we go. We have this. Let's take it. All this good stuff. copy, bring it in here, paste it, bring this up. Now we have 2. We'll have other elements around these, right? So some of these elements. I have another cool thing that I was working on this. Yeah, I don't know what that's gonna be. Let's just delete it. What other elements do I have in here? So sorry, everybody. Right, I'll add additional elements, but these are all made up of drawings and patterns. Now that I have those 2, I can then take this and turn this into another whole pattern. But the thing is I want this to repeat. The nice thing is I could try out a pattern in Illustrator, and then once I feel like it's tiling correctly, that's when I would upload to Spoonflower. So to answer your question, Spoonflower will allow you to print your artwork on pretty much anything, to be honest with you. You can see right up here, fabrics. So you could look at all the different fabrics, but basically wallpaper, again, perfect opportunity to just like make some cool wallpaper. Living decor like pillows, napkins, bedding, all sorts of stuff. But this is the fun thing, upload your design, right? You take what you've created, something like this. Okay, once it's squared away, I know it's not perfect, but geez, I only have an hour. And from there, I can output it. So I was going to output it to Spoonflower. Just jump in here. You can go down to Design FAQs. And it's pretty straightforward. They say 150 DPI. It's really easy. And the size, here we go. Here's your different sizes. So you could have a very small pattern from as small as 4 inches, as large as 58 inches. Of course, 58 inches is probably going to be like your wallpaper or whatever. So you get to choose the size. I was probably going to go with something like maybe around 10 inches. So if we go in here, we can check. What is this? Let's check it out. 10 inches. That is so small. Look at how big I was making all of this. What? Look at that. That is okay, because all I need to do is make sure that I scale strokes and effects, take everything, scale it down so it fits nice and neat within that page. Like that. Okay. So that's the plan. Here's the pattern. It's going to have other elements around it, and it's going to be awesome, right? So I wanted to do one more thing, by the way. You guys get how this works. I can output this, right, as a JPEG, upload it, and make that cool wallpaper, whatever the case may be. But I think people have really been into kind of what you can do in After Effects with like animating a pattern, right? So that's also what I was thinking about as well, because people really liked it when I was animating these characters and drawing in those lines. So we could do kind of the same thing. So let's just take this. I just want to share this with you really fast. Here's my one line. Let's go to Overlord. We're going to push this. This is just, again, just an easy way to get things into After Effects, especially if you're live streaming because you got no time. Pushing this over. Here's this lovely pattern. In fact, let's go to New Composition. And this is going to be decoration. I don't have enough time. Let's do this. Anyways, let's just go back over. God. Paul, why do you always do this? Push it in there. There it is. Here's my decoration. Right, there it is. We will twirl this down. We'll add a trim paths. We'll twirl down trim paths. We'll add start and end lines. Drag that out. Change the start maybe to 100. And now we have an animated. We could take that and put that in our composition. So now in our comp, we'll put in this decoration. Bam. There it is. And then we can go ahead and make it a pattern, which I hardly have time for, but let's do it. Let's do motion tile. There's a motion tile on this now. Oh, I had the wrong layer selected. Don't you hate it when you do that? There's my motion tile added to it. Shrinking this down. I'm actually tiling all this stuff. I then add a transform to it as well, but all those are animating, and that was the goal for my pattern. But I'm over on time, guys. Thanks so much for watching. Maybe next time we'll do animation. Thanks so much for watching. Stick around. We have daily creative challenges. We've got Terry White up next, I think. He's awesome. I'm going to stick around and watch it too. Thanks so much, everybody. We will see you soon.